Everybody, and welcome. It's time for Minute to Skim It. This is an awesome review show in which I don't spoil things, but I give you everything you need to know so you can add your books to your pull list with knowledge and authority. This is the way you can connect with your local comic shop so you can make sure to get everything you need this week. There's a ton of good stuff. If you can, please subscribe to our channel if you're on YouTube, or hit that bell to make sure you get notifications if you're on anywhere else. And like and share. Tell your friends. We're going to be right back here, and I'll get started. It's time for comics. I was kind of worried. I had two things happen today. One, I was in the middle of doing my read and I heard thunder in the distance, and I know what that means around here in Houston. It means we're about to get wet. So I read as fast as I could, and then I just kind of like gave up on finishing it up there and came back here so I could finish it in the spot in here. And then I turned on my computer, and of course it was like, you know how you can tell when a computer's trying to do updates or whatever it's doing. Yeah, that's what mine was doing. I secretly hate the security systems that they put in our computers, the ones we add to them. Because it doesn't matter what kind of program you've got. They're like, buy more things. You should pay more money to do this other thing that we're slowing down your computer with. Why don't they just do what it's told to do? That's it. That's all I need. All right, there are some themes that run through the books this week. It's very interesting, the themes. There's some vampire action that's going on, a bunch of PTSD guys, and some surprisingly amazing stuff from people I did not know were writing a books this week. So let's get to it. This one was really cool. I love the stuff that Ignition Press is doing right now because there are not any of them like another one. You know that when you're reading one, it's going to give you something unique and cool. This is an interesting look at a guy who is a delivery driver, but that is not the big deal. It is clear that he has some kind of past, assumed to be related to military and PTSD. Because when we're introduced to him, he's delivering a package and a dog gets loose from its owner in the next yard. And the dog lunges at him and he grabs it by its neck. And as he tells his circle group later on, he could feel the dog's fear. And he admits to the group that if the owner wasn't there, he might have just extinguished his life. So that's like, what? What's wrong with this guy? And other people in the group do not believe that he's ex-military, but whatever. That's not the real gist of this. That is the get to know this guy part. The bit that is super cool is, do you like Die Hard? You will love this book. Because he delivers to a big office building that bad guys are already in the middle of trying to heist in some way. I'm not sure that we know 100% what the heist is for, but it'll give you all of the same good feels that you got for a Die Hard kind of film, except for this guy's not a cop, or at least I don't know, maybe he's also. But it's all this kind of like really great art that's on the front cover here. Very rich, good storytelling. You care about the characters in it. I love when they give us something to root for or against, especially regarding your main character. You can tell this guy's broken. You can tell he's broken, and that's okay. I like a broken hero or anti-hero or whatever he's going to be. But I'm definitely putting this on my list of definitely read issue 2. All right, Aladdin. I love Aladdin. It's such a good film, or a couple of films and series. I think they went on and on and on with it, but I mostly like the main film because it is all about somebody that starts with everything against him in life and makes something of himself. Right? He could have been a really terrible person, but he's usually, even when he's being thefty, he's helping other kids or whatever. And this continues that thought process. This is he and Jasmine already engaged. They're making plans about the getting married part. This is a little bit about the Sultan kind of encouraging Aladdin that he has what it takes. And the genie, unintentionally, I think it's something started by, he goes around town and kind of brags on Aladdin, right? Because Aladdin in the movie like freed him instead of like using all of his wishes and then putting him back in the bottle. Genie gets freed. I'm sure that everyone's seen the film by now because it's like, I don't know, your trigger warning or whatever is like 20 years old, I guess, for this one. But this one is a really cool look at like the personality of Jasmine and Ali. But the thing that happens, that's the big foil here, is that a previous friend / suitor of Jasmine shows up and is creating problems. So this is fun. You were 10 when this movie came out. Man, I feel so old. I just remember I loved all the music from the whole thing. And I was actually scared of the Cave of Wonders or whatever it was called. Yeah, this has all the magic of the movie. So even as an adult, I enjoyed reading it. But it's certainly fine for your youngins. Okay, so this is interesting. I thought it was a whole new, just like one whole new storyline. But as far as I can tell, I know that the first story in here, I think, is new. But the middle story was the original Hank Howard Pizza Detective. And then there's a third story in there that I think has also been previously released. The thing is that all of the ones in here, even if they've been previously released, were such that you had to jump through hoops because they were in the days before Bad Idea had distribution to regular comic book stores. And instead you had to do the special hoop jumping for specific comic book stores and or back to Kickstarters or however else they had it. So this one's got, let me see if I can get up this one. The first story is The Inside Job. It has all that awesome Lapham goodness you like. Then the original Caligula's Safe, which is the one that started everything off. And as I remember it, Caligula's Safe was one of those books that was $1, but you had to buy it on one day, right? There was one day that was available, and then all the copies were supposed to be destroyed after that. And then there's The Counterfeiter's Gamble. So really cool. So the first story is the only one I'm going to talk about that's in here, is about him going in, like he really is a detective that works at a pizza place. I know that sounds real weird, but imagine super crime noir, but also the guy works at a pizza joint. And he still wears the fedora and the cool raincoat and that kind of stuff. But he believes that there is some internal malfeasance going on at work. And so he's trying to hunt down the who. And the only other characters that are in this book, honestly, are the kid that has applied to be the mascot and a dog. So I don't know. I guess the who's it could be is really tiny. And also the cool thing about this is it does have, it's printed on that really cool, I love the newsprint. So this is like, this whole book weighs like a whole bunch of nothing. But it's fun. I mean, you have to be willing to care about any crimes that might be happening at the pizza place. All right. Vampyrates was an interesting read. It does what probably any really good book does, where it introduces a character or characters and then moves along in the story, and you almost forgot about those characters until you get to the last pages, and then it readdresses them, and you're like, oh darn, I should have been paying more attention at the beginning about like what their interaction was with each other. So this lives in a world in which there are vampires that are kind of like 1/3 of the population. They have an empress. They've been around for generations. There are plenty of people that are still around, and it looks like they kind of tolerate each other when one of them's not eating the other one of them. And the heart of the story is about an empress who, because of her lineage, she has to, at this point, pick someone to become married to, even if it's only in name and by blood, because they do blood rites or whatever, but not necessarily for any kind of love or that they ever have to even talk to each other ever again. And there is an evil, we'll call her evil, well, I don't know, maybe all of the vampires are evil in this thing. But there is a sister who is also vying for power that comes and makes trouble. But the cool thing is, pay attention to the pirates that are the vampires that are at the very beginning. Oh, and also there's a love story. So this is a pretty complex book in the very best way. And this is Fred Van Lente. You probably know him more from his work with all of the Valiant universe. He does an amazing job there, but definitely be paying attention to this. I'm trying to think of other things that it kind of feels like it lives in the same universe as. You remember Ram V's vampire book that happened in English-occupied colonial India? My brain's not going to give the name to me right now, even though I know it by heart. It has that kind of like mood and tone, honestly, where it's very much a period piece, but you can't really tell what period. But they're dressing up like they're from a really cool picture. These Savage Shores, yeah, we need that movie. By the way, These Savage Shores should be a movie. I need it really badly. That was the one book that I read. I can't remember what issue it is, and someone big dies in it. And I messaged him and I was like, what are you doing? Like, why would you kill that person? And he was like, that's the first rule of writing, is kill what they love. And it does work, because then you're really invested, right? Can you guys think of other cool books where someone you really are meant to love is like killed earlier on in the acts than when you think they should be? You're not prepared for such things. Maybe you're ready for it at the end of a book, but not like, here you go, here's your main character. Blah. This is totally ridiculous. Another book on that awesome newsprint. This is from Robert Venditti. This is Dingoliath, part of Bad Ideas series of ridiculous creatures. This one's almost a no-word book, and it is really pretty. It's in the same vein as Tony Millionaire's. I can't remember what the actual book name is, also from them. But the Tony Millionaire's Bad Idea book, where it's just super fantastical and fantasy. This one's kind of a bloodbath, honestly. Without any words, it's a story of a man who finds a dog and it gets fed toxic sludge, I guess. And it's very, very good at creating many bloody things. It is a very, very vengeful dog. Every character in Game of Thrones, yeah. I mean, in episode 1 of Game of Thrones, right? They're killing people that were like, wait. Although Game of Thrones, to me, the biggest shock was like the whole introduction to characters where a brother and sister sleeping together. So I was like, what the heck am I reading right now? What am I reading right now? But you can't stop reading it, dadgummit. So this is ridiculous and fun. Try it out if you like ridiculous fun things. Next is Zorro's Legacy. This is interesting because I feel like they've been doing Alien books and others have been doing a lot of kind of like throwback to an era books, like Rocketeers and Zorros and Flashes and Speed Racers and all those kinds of things. I think they're hitting some nostalgia buttons. But this one is a little bit different than the normal Zorro tale. This one actually is an introduction to the fact that it's a legacy of people that have come after the original. So this is kind of, you're introduced to a character who is just I think he's a car mechanic, and his nephew, and the kind of realization that the nephew has that his uncle, who he knows is related to the original Zorro, I believe, is actually taken up the mantle. And it's a little exploration for the legacy of the characters, how he interacts with bad guys, right? He's not a gun. He's like Batman, right? He's not a gun guy. He's a sword guy. And, a lot of flair, etc. So if you like Zorro tales, you will like this book. But if you also aren't interested in kind of like that old-fashioned feel that some of those other stories have had, where they just are set in the exact same time period that they've always been, and you wanted a little something different, this one's kind of told in kind of a non-linear way that actually reveals more and more and more about the characters you're looking at. And it's quite good. It's Simbi. I don't know why I started saying it's Jeff the way I say it's Jeff. Maybe someone can help me remember why I say it's Jeff that way. I feel like it's from a show or something, but I don't know. So I'm going to say it's Simbi. So Simbi was introduced. Hey, Warlord. Simbi was introduced fairly recently. He's kind of like popped up in a bunch of different Marvel books. So he's like a little plip of symbiote that got popped off of the main one, I believe. Excuse me. I'm going to turn it off because it's loud. 22 Jump Street, Channing Tatum. What are you referring to here?
My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. Oh, maybe that is where it's from. Thank you. I was like, why do I say it that way? It's from something. Thank you. So this is like a bunch of little stories starring this character who is kind of a troublemaker. Think a little bit like Jeff the Land Shark, but also if you mix that character together with somebody like Crypto, just he's into a bunch of stuff. There's one of my favorite stories that's in here has Simbi finding Thor's hammer and wanting to take it, but he ends up like getting it swallowed into his mouth and then trying to walk away, but his head is stuck in one room and the rest of his body's walking away because he's stretched pretty far. I don't know. It's really cute. There's a couple of really cute books this week. So he's trouble. It looks like Peter is in charge of him. He's in charge of him, but I don't know why he got to be put in charge of him. And yeah, it's trouble, but not stressful trouble. Ant-Man running after him. Is he down there? Yep. There's a bunch of fun stuff on that cover, isn't there? Especially the gauntlet. Yep. You'll like it if you want to have just like some fun today. Or tomorrow, sorry. Some fun tomorrow. And this is also kind of fun to just like read with your kids. As it's very little words. It's not as little words as Jeff usually is. Jeff is usually a no word book, but this one is a fun insight to what trouble he might be getting into now and in the future. Speaking of Jeff, here's Jeff. Jeff the Land Shark, superstar. So just like usual, this is a series of short stories. It's not as many as it sometimes is, but they all star this little lovable octoped or quadruped or heptaped. I don't remember. He's got an official name. They actually say his name in some of the spoiler stuff now. Ken. Oh, it's Ken the Heptapus. This is his official first appearance. But it is the overall storyline here is Mojo is trying to get a new team. I don't think they're supposed to be like a band or something, but like to do things on, because Mojo's universe is all about making TV, right? So this is like a series of, how about these versions of things? And it names all the characters, including the first group has Mr. Spider Business, Spider Oaf, Spider, Spider Head, which I'm sure you can guess what that is. High TV ratings, that's right. And Spider Ham Sandwich. No lie. So he is unhappy with that group. I will tease you with this. Tease you with this. Would this sell a book and or TV show to you? Pika Wolverine. I don't know. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it is all about introducing this character who doesn't have any powers that we're aware of at the beginning, and is told he needs to stay at home, which we know how well that works for Carl in The Walking Dead. Stay in the house, Carl. Sure. So I hope he's a continuing character because he's adorable. You see, he's got just like baby teeth, just one. Cute. And some of these characters that are presented in here as possibilities for like, hey, let's make this guy, are actually kind of fun. I'd like to see a book with those people in it. All right. They've been working through some of these cool characters that maybe we don't know a whole bunch about. In the Fantastic Four movies, the most recent one, we were introduced this character called Shalla-Bal, which was one of the Heralds of Galactus. And you remember what happened when they announced this character and showed that it was a girl. They were like, not my Silver Surfer, but dadgummit, Silver Surfer is whoever is chosen. So this tells a little bit more about her character. It puts her in a situation in a different planet that is trying to get it out of its position of being eaten, but that they don't understand what she's trying to do. I don't think they understand. So not humans here, different planet, but a cool look at kind of like her personality and stuff. She's cool. All right, so Exquisite Corpses is an amazing series. Oh my gosh, Chinan has got everyone all riled up about this crazy idea where these big bad families, think mafia families, have competition every however long. I need to narrow that down. We'll say every 5 years. Does that sound good? In which they pick a town and send all their assassins into the town, and whoever's the last assassin standing, that family rules. Well, as you know or may not know, at the end of this 5 years of Halloween, woo! Thank you. As you may know, everybody in the town is forfeit. So if you're in the way, you're in the way. And some of the families that are part of the competition decided they were going to change the rules. So it did not end the way anyone really expected it to. But also they decided, well, we're at the end of that 5-year cycle competition. Let's give some background about the assassins themselves. So this one gives us a good look at Rascal Randy, which is a very interesting storyline. I don't want to ruin anything for you. It it assumes that we see who it might be, but it's a really cool way of like, it's not an obvious like, here's the person, here's what their motivation is, here's how they became who they were. It's more of a, it puts out a big kind of like mystery about what you're looking at. It means like the one of the characters thinks they figure out who it is because there is one of the characters has this costume in their house, but it appears to be as a collectible that was given to them by a family member. So who is the actual Rascal Randy? Who's in that suit? And I am down for hearing more about all the different characters that are part of this sicko group of killer fires. It's a real word I just made up. Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a one-shot, and I think a lot of people are going to want it. This is a tale about this thing that falls from the sky. You can see it there in the center of the picture. It looks a little bit like Star Rocks with a vine in it, and it appears to be alive. Almost as soon as it falls, Eggman shows up and steals it with the idea of it gives off some kind of power signature in which he believes will run some, of course, weapon that he's working on. But there's tons of stuff that happens inside of that basic storyline. I'm really interested in what's going to happen because it like anything else coming from space, should trust it. Sonic's hard to predict. Some are crazy popular, others nobody sees. Well, here's the cool thing about it, Warlord. This is our experience at the store. Is it like it doesn't matter which issue of Sonic the Hedgehog, we always sell all of it. So, and it's almost impossible to get back issues. So IDW does not keep a bunch of back issues at any of the distributors. So despite the fact that some of them don't hit, kids and other people still want to have them for their collection and or read them because they're like, especially to young people, they don't care. They'll just take any old issue. They want to read it because they're always standalone stories. So they're infinitely sellable forever and all time. But I also can't get back issues. So it's like the other day I offered a collection of Archie Sonic. I was so happy to have because it's only the second time I've been offered any Archie Sonic in the whole 30 years that I've had a store now. Just because I put it out into the world now, everybody is going to give me Archie Sonic, but it's hard to find Sonic at all in any kind of good condition because they're usually read by young ones and they don't know anything about keeping comic books safe. They like just open them and read them like you're supposed to, daggum it. So yeah, if you're a collector and trying to get IDW or Archie Comics Sonic, it's tough. It's just like getting My Little Pony or Monster High. Good luck. It's tough. All right, Rocketeer Infiltrator. This is one of those when I was telling you about like the lean into the original look of some of these old characters. This is Rocketeer truly in the time of the fight against the Nazis. And this is an interesting look because this is them traveling to Germany with, I think it's Betty. I was going to get confused with Betty or Betsy, but I think it's Betty. She's an actress. So she's going to star in a film there, but also being labeled as a traitor, of course, because she's taking a part in a Nazi film, but she is doing it so that they can get close to, the higher ups so that she can maybe find some stuff to do some spy in, and also the Rocketeers with her. So a great wartime Rocketeer being Rocketeer. I think it's a fun look because it also, the opening is them on a train, and the train's got all kinds of like, I don't know if you've ever watched Ancient Aliens, where they're talking about all this stuff that they were trying to gather just about every kind of like mystical or scientific whatever, and hogging it all up. I feel like the train talks about a lot of them. It just doesn't talk about the Glock. Leglock. Diglock. I don't know. It's the bell-shaped spaceship. It hasn't shown up with this one yet, but I anticipate it should. I'm not saying I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens, but I watch a lot of Ancient Aliens. No, I am not a person that believes in that stuff. I just think it's intriguing. It's fun to watch. All right, Operation Iron Coffin. This one also, oh, maybe I've got it wrong. This is the one that has a train in it. This is the one that has a train in it that has Nazi goods. There's a lot of Nazis. Sorry, I know what I'm saying. I just don't want to say the real word. I don't like it. So, this is a full-on vampire tale. That is Dracula on the cover. But he has shown up to like infiltrate all of the weaponry and that kind of stuff. Let me make sure I'm not getting these two. You know, like when you read two stories back to back that have the same kind of background. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a deal that he's made. So he dies. He gets killed by people and goes to heck. And while there, actually, he doesn't even make it to heck. He makes it to purgatory. And in purgatory, the guy in charge there says, hey, you are going to be tortured forever and ever by the people that you turned into vampires or whatever. But I can make a deal with you. If you go, I will put you back to life with the idea you have to go and kill everybody that you've ever converted. So that is partially what he's doing. And it's a very, very brutal. And he comes up against, they've got the Spear of Christ that he's up against too. Sounds like a good deal. But what? Okay, there's a big twist at the end that I can't tell you about, but it makes it complicated. That he's promised to do this and he has to do this or he gets tortured by anybody else that he isn't convert. It makes it real crazy. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to read this book. It's crazy and good. Good crazy. Okay. Clayface. This is a very interesting comeback because it presupposes that there are multiple Clayfaces, which I guess might be true in the Batman universe, but I don't know any better, so I don't know if it's part of the general lore or just what this book is putting out. But in any case, this has their way early. So this one has him as a prisoner. He's trying to explain that he's the original. He's in his clay form because they're keeping him in some kind of boxy thing that stays super hot, keeps him in his melty form. So he can't really form anything that makes any sense. But he's trying to explain to them that he's the real one. And then there's the actor that's out there that is actually famous and doing acting. That he obviously, I'm just going to tell you he escapes because that happens in the first however many pages of the book. So you can see where this is going. And it's about him confronting maybe multiple versions of himself. It's kind of that exploration about who's the real Clayface. I think it's a kind of a scary, scary thing. Did you know that, at least the way they tell it here, Clayface, when they do DNA tests on him, even if he's the separate beings of Clayface, they all test as being the exact same DNA. So there's no real way of telling who's the real one anyway. Maybe they're all the real one? I don't know. Anyone else have any? Do we have any experts on Clayface here? I feel like we should know more about Clayface because feel like he's showing up in the Batman. All I've ever really known about him is that he's an actor. Timeshare? Sure. Why not? Just like have one house and like just have one guy go out and work every day and everyone else gets to stay at home and be lazy. That would be a fun way to have like clones, right? It's kind of that fun Gattaca. Was it Gattaca when if you had bad genes, then you couldn't get a job? So if you had good genes, but you had a disability, then someone like the main character would go and would change places with them so that he could earn a living. One dude can be the real one for a month and then switch. Yeah. So yeah, that was like a sad look at reality. All right. Absolute Catwoman number 2. That's interesting. Isn't that this? It's like almost the reverse exact image of Absolute Catwoman number 1. She's upside down on that one, isn't she? That's an interesting. I didn't know. We actually didn't get our A covers. They're like lost in the world, but we got all the rest of ours, so I did get to read it. Okay, so in the last issue of Absolute Catwoman, number 1, we've already been introduced to Selena in previous, like I think she was in Batman at least once, right? Once or twice. So we already are aware of her. But in Absolute Catwoman number 1, we got this idea that she has had this kind of interesting group of theft ring called the Calicos. And that some time ago, they had a falling out. Read this issue is one you might want to back up just in case. Yeah, I think you should. I think you should. So this does do some going back and forth in time to kind of like give you some more introduction to these ladies. Hey, Corey. Hey, TJ. And it kind of feels a little bit like Ocean's 11 or whatever when you introduce a character and why they're part of the crew. This is Bridget, and she's on our team because she's the money. And then it like has a still, the money. They don't do that here, by the way. But that's the way I love movies when they're like, and this is Simone, and she's here because she's the brains. The brains. Do you guys like that when they do that in movies? I think it's funny. Freeze frame. The brains. Anyway, that does it here where you can actually figure out why the girls that are in the Calicos were chosen for being the Calicos. And they were successful for a while. But this is later when they're not getting along anymore. And so you can kind of see it does reveal who kind of like out of the group, who is the, I'm going to say it, the big bad from them. I don't know. Relatively bad from them. I do like that they all have slightly different costumes. I love that she's got that cool whiptail aspect to hers. Yeah, I think you're going to really like this one. I like that they've started to tackle all of the side parts of the Absolute Universe. And it does feel like every single book from here on out, they're going to introduce first appearances, new powers, new complexities. So probably any book is probably going to be okay money for your long-term pocketbook and or just enjoy it. Just enjoy them because they're really great. And now that we know this universe isn't like having a hard stop anytime soon, you can fall in love, because I know everyone was really nervous about it, right? We do have that problem where we're like, oh no, I feel like these books, I can't really get married to anything because they might end at any given time. But they told us which ones are the short ones. We know we're going to get 6 of Absolute Catwoman, but she's part of a bigger universe, so it doesn't matter. We'll see her again. And 6 of Green Arrow, because we know they'll probably finish up that storyline with maybe telling us what's going on. Hope they stretch it out as long as they can.
I would just like to comment the freeze frame for me only works if it's accompanied by that song. And I don't know the name of the song, but it's the one that's in all those movies like Ocean's 11 and stuff. The dun 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 dun. That's how it works for me.
To me, my brain always puts it as they do have some kind of song going on, but when they do the money, then it has like gunshots. When it freezes it. Oh my goodness. All right. Absolute Batman. I will tell you this is the 3rd issue in a row in which it has Robins, but doesn't tell you jack about any of the Robins. Isn't that awesome? That they're going to give us the Robins and the Robins and the Robins and the Robins and let us know a little bit how they operate, the power structure and who they answer to, and a little bit about what they're wearing as mech suits. Now, that kind of stuff, sure, they're going to tell us all that stuff, but they're not going to tell us anything about those Robins, the actual people. Good on them. They're keeping me hooked like I'm a fish on a lure. One of those super awesome ones with the metal spoon in its mouth. Yeah, that's me. I'm on that one right now. They got me good. It's got the spinners on the back. All right, so the big thing about this one, honestly, is the whole through story with Harley. Harley is desperately trying to tell Batman, weirdly, while they're trying to escape from the Robins. I don't know why she's trying to tell everything about her origin. She feels like it's very important to tell during this thing. But she is telling the origin of her young life. And I guess to try to explain why she is the way she is. And it is a very dark, bleak storyline. So get ready for such things. But as always, there's big twists. They mention a lot of stuff as asides, the Robins. So pay attention to what the Robins are saying. Because although they're not telling you anything about themselves, their personalities haven't really popped yet. The people that they mention might be important. So you might get an inkling of what the power structure is. Do they have a common father? Things. So yes, this is definitely going to be one of those collectible books that you definitely need because it's origin-y for sure. Definitely origin. Maybe some first appearances if they count them. This should. All right. My favorite book of the week. I didn't know Nathan Fillion was writing a book this week. Did you know that Nathan Fillion was writing a book this week? I read this whole book and said to myself, who wrote this book? This is the best book. Nathan Fillion, of course, because he has so much talent. He doesn't know what to do with it. He's going to come and knock out everything in our universe. Okay. Witness Point. Imagine, if you will, small town. Where is it? Sorry, I'm going to get you the wrong state. I'm going to say Kentucky, but that's not right. It's an M name. Massachusetts, maybe? I don't know if it's important, but I feel like I should be accurate. Wisconsin. Of course, it's totally an M word. It's Wisconsin. It is about primarily the main character is a sheriff. He goes by the name Kit, I think, or Kite. He has a cool name. Boop, boop, boop. Yep, he goes by Kite. His name is Carter Calhoun, but he goes by Kite. Just an upside down M. That's my problem. I also get R's and P's mixed up, but I'll be sure it's an R word. Nope, P. Small town USA. I think it makes a difference, honestly, weird. No cheese equals not authentic. So here's the things that are really weird about this town. The sheriff is very down to earth. Think kind of like that sheriff that shows up at Eureka. If you've never watched Eureka, shame on you. Go watch Eureka. super fun romp. But as I feel like he's always been there. So not a fish out of water sheriff, but just like a good old boy. The town is the wintering place of a circus troupe. So it's not unusual to see a clown in full clown gear out and about, because when they're traveling, they have to have somewhere to come and stay. Eureka followed by Warehouse 13. Clear your schedule. Yes, agreed. All of those things. And then followed up with a nice Fringe. Maybe some X-Files. They're all necessary. Okay. And there is this fun little group of high schoolers in this town that I guess that the regular paper closed years ago. And so there's no real news in the town. So this group of 3 or 4 students has formed their own kind of like podcast kind of news, in which it's kind of accurate sometimes. Maybe not all the time. But it is the only source of news that the town has for local gossipy stuff. So the trouble starts here when they record on their phone a conversation the sheriff is having. It sounds like the real news, yeah. The sheriff is having with this guy who shows up and says that he is from the FBI. Now, whether that's true or not is interesting. And what happens after this is interesting. So we go from sleepy town with nothing going on to, I will just put this out as a tease, dude with no head or hands. That kind of murder. So what is going on? Because the thing that the kids overhear and record is, I think this is like the pitch that they make for the book, so I'm not messing up. And it is literally in the title, is that the government got lazy when hiding witnesses and ended up putting them all in one town, this town, in which it is known to not the town itself, but for the government witness point. So this is about all of the mess that happens if that secret comes out and everyone now distrusts each other. It is the best writing this week of character development and intrigue, and there's another whole storyline that's going on in the background. I'm going to say to you, don't buy it because it's Nathan, although he's amazing. Buy it because it's just a great darn story. And great art. Suli. So, run, don't walk, because I'm feeling that this is one of those books that people bought small amounts of for their store, no matter if they had a big name on there or not, if they noticed it. But with a name like, when it has like circus stuff in the background and a name like Witness Point, maybe no one really cares. It'll get optioned probably. Lord, I hope. It's fingers, because I can see specific people in specific roles for this one. It'd be awesome. But I just want to have it finished as a comic book first. Okay. I got surprised by this next book. Star-Crossed. I should have known, because if you pay attention to this cover, there's 3 hints here on the cover. It's Mark Millar. If you pay attention to the picture that's up there above, can you see who that is up there? Could that be Sharky Bounty Hunter? Could these guys right here be perhaps Space Bandits? Okay. So I got fully into this book before I realized that was what was going on. And maybe it's in the solicitation, and maybe not. But it's really about this. I think it's just a rich family in space. We'll just say that. That they figure out that they've had a chunk of their fortune stolen. the dynamic between like the head, which we call her Empress too. There are a lot of Empresses this week too. Head lead Empress and her daughter, who for some reason looks older than her. I don't understand how that works, but maybe if you're the Empress, you just keep on like giving yourself facelifts. And it is really about her sending bounty hunters after these two girls who have gone to the other side of the universe to try to avoid getting caught. So it's a lot of fun. And of course, if you have Sharky Bounty Hunter, by the way, if you've never read Sharky Bounty Hunter, shame on you. Super fun. He is a bounty hunter that drives an ice cream truck, but it's not your typical ice cream truck. And he's ridiculous too. So my pitch about this one is super fun, heisty book. You don't need to have read either of those two books to enjoy it. Clearly, as I got through most of it before I realized that I was like, wait a darned minute. So that is the end of the regular books this week that I got to read before I ran out of time. But also, there's an anniversary special Sonic the Knuckles hardcover that's going to be available this week. Sorry, get it in the right frame there. Wrestle Heist, you'll finally be able to get the graphic novel for. It is exactly what you expect. Hulk Smash Everything finished up and has its graphic novel form for you. Oops. Also, Spider-Man Torn finished up for you and it has its graphic novel. Red Book finished. It's a follow-up to Blue Book. It literally tackles UFO sightings that happened in Russia. Your chance to get a premiere collection, Spider-Man Worlds Collide. We have Miles and Spider-Man Peter Parker. It is time for the new Dan to Dan book. All the youngins will make you crazy to get it. Garfield. Are you aware of Garfield? Where's that line from? Do you guys know that line? I'll give you points. Be Not Afraid, the cool Boom series finished up, so you can get the whole graphic novel. And Batman Monster Man by Matt Wagner gets a new awesome print. I think that's all. And also, if you wanted to go and find copies of Sharky Bounty Hunter and Space Bandits, they're out there in the wild, so you can get them and enjoy them. This is your message to definitely get in touch with your local comic shop, please, and ask them to pull these awesome books for you. And also a reminder for you guys that are big collectors of cover art that episode Batman 22 has a Quintana cover that's just a regular open order variant, but they will not last on the rack. They're going to be hot. Cha-cha-cha. Hot. And after my follow-up show, I'm going to be selling these books for the next 2 hours. After we pop off, we're going to pop back on again. And then after that is going to be Aggressive Positivity with a very special guest. Do not miss. Do not miss. I can't remember who the guest is. There you go. The voice of Scooby-Doo. Are we going to get him to talk in Scooby-Doo voices? I don't know. But how often do you get to see that? That's way cool. We've had so many good guests. We got good guests on Friday's show. So please, please, please tell your friends about our network. We can't do this without y'all's support. We appreciate you so much. And I will see you guys in about 5 minutes and or next week. Bye, y'all.